And we're live. Hello and welcome to the 106th episode of Game Theory Gang. I'm Matty ALLin with ChrispyMan of Hexfire.io and Brisology. Welcome.
Thank you. How's it going, everybody?
We got a great show for you tonight. Hit the like and subscribe button. Leave a comment on the replay gang. Share this out on X and Twitter and anywhere else it can be found.
A little bit of a rough week. Just a little bit.
Yeah, what happened? Who sold?
Wasn't me.
Who sold?
Was there a dip or something? What are you guys talking about?
I read last night over $163 million was liquidated out of the cryptocurrency markets.
Wow. You realize that crypto's volatile, right?
I heard it was super safe and that the number only goes up.
Only up and to the right. Yeah.
That's right.
I tell you what, there's only one thing that goes up and to the right almost every day. And that is the cost of a T-share in Hex.
Can I just point out, Toby is scared to get into a confrontation with me tonight because he challenged me a little bit on Twitter and I gave him a little bit of a mushroom stamp right on the forehead. So, Toby, right, I doubt Toby is even going to make it to the stream because
he's coming.
No, he's afraid.
Caretaking. He's on his way. Drive safe. Okay, so why did the markets dip today?
I'll handle Briz for you.
Why did the markets dip today in crypto, in Bitcoin and Ethereum? Where, well, a little known entity called the U.S. government, they sent $100 million worth of Bitcoin to Coinbase.
I saw that.
And that might mean that they're getting ready to sell. Now, let's put that in perspective. Whatever the number of Bitcoin that they're selling, I believe it's equal to the ETF buy pressure for a week. So if the headlines didn't tell you that, they're trying to FUD you out of the greatest bull market of all time. We hope. So, yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what happens. Of course, I really like Steph's commentary on macro and like his predictions have been really, really spot on. He just called the top in the stock market. He thinks that Ethereum could dip to 1,800 at some point. For me, I want to have crypto in a bull market, even if it goes down. That's like the risk that I'm taking. So yeah, it sucks, but we've seen this before. We've seen this play out. Those of us who have been here 2 cycles, 3 cycles. Brisology, is this your 4th cycle or 3rd cycle?
4th. I'm still poor. I'm still broke. Son of a bitch.
Another thing of note that I noticed in the past week is that the whole ink situation reversed, where it was outperforming everything, and now it's not, which is very interesting because we were saying on the show last week that if something didn't change, impermanent loss would be just beating me up to no end with my $300 that I'm yield farming. Now, of course, I did end up adding more to the yield farm than what I showed on stream. But yeah, I just think it's really interesting that I've already seen the impermanent loss that I had seen. It's gone away now, just about, which that's great news. ChrispyMan, he was attesting to the fact that he's seen, and Brisology, all you guys who have been yield farming ink in the long term for months, you've seen the ratio go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And so the impermanent loss doesn't, you've beat it.
Matty, do you know that crypto's volatile?
Well, I knew crypto was volatile. And then I started scratching my head and saying, is yield farming ink worth it? Should I just buy the ink and hold it, or should I yield farm it? And that's
In
a
my
question for the market to decide.
in
Well,
my
you know,
opinion,
whenever I
sorry,
come
go
up with a
ahead.
decision like that, I split it 50-50.
In my opinion, I feel like I've gotten really lucky with the farming simply because I was farming it during this whole like, yeah, where the money was just kind of at a lull. You know, it wasn't really going down too much, but also wasn't going up that much. And so I feel like I collected enough ink to where if I do get like impermanent loss, I'll be okay because I can sell whatever ink I have and recuperate all of the losses that I've received on paper. Um, you know, and then also you can sell the asset that you got more of and rebalance your farm after you end it. So it's not too big of a deal when you have impermanent loss, as long as you're in it for the long haul, I think.
Well, yeah, that's the differentiating factor, isn't it? Because yeah, if you're willing to round trip your impermanent loss, that ends up being a good thing. Now, doesn't it?
That's true. Yeah, and here's the other thing too. Round tripping your money in a cycle, it's not that big of a deal, in my opinion. Um, yeah, you're not gonna make as much money. You're not, but it's also you're gonna be really well off if you stay in it for the long run. And here's the math I'll point out. All right, say you
Hit
had
me.
$1,000 and you go through a bull market and you get 100x, and that
Now we're talking.
$1,000 becomes $100,000. Now,
Let's go.
if it retraces, say 85%, that sucks, but you still have $15,000 when you started off with $1,000. Now you got 15,000, and if you go into the next bull cycle and you catch another 100x, you know, what is that? Is that like 1.5 million? I think so. I made that number up. I didn't even try to do the math, but I think that's the number. So I'm just saying, yeah, round tripping the cycles suck, but you also start the next cycle usually a lot higher than you had in the previous cycle. As long as you keep your money in the system. If you sell at the bottoms, well, that just I guess that sucks.
I mean, to counter my own point, you know, about like Steph calling the top in the stock market. I mean, Richard bought ETH. I saw an interesting comment. Somebody said, "What if he also shorted it privately?" That'd be an interesting plot twist.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he said what about shorting it?
Somebody was doing a thought experiment to say, like, what if the origin address not only, what if it bought Ethereum publicly and shorted it privately? I don't think it would do that. I don't think that whoever the Buddhist monk, frog, lizard person, or anybody who's behind the OA. Actually, that's a topic for today.
That'd be an interesting strategy.
Should we be allowed to talk about the OA?
You can do it if you want.
There's a group in the community that has come out on Twitter, and they made some good points. They said, you know, other communities don't broadcast their whale activity.
That's because there is no other community
You
like
gotta be kidding me.
That has a founder who buys,
no,
theoretically,
that just has a vocal community
who doesn't
like
sell.
us. I mean, you know, you always hear about the Link Marines, but have you ever been inside a Link Marines barrack? No, doesn't even exist.
Hey, you guys know that crypto's volatile, right? I'm just
What?
asking you guys a question.
What does that even mean?
Volatility. No. Before we move into that topic, as we're moving away from all this stuff and the dipping and all the rest, guys, I'm just being, I'm sounding like an idiot by saying it over and over again. But hey, when I signed up, at the central, oh, wait, there was no central office. I didn't go to HR for this, did I? All right. So when I came into crypto and I learned about crypto, I heard this thing about crypto being super volatile and that's risky and all that. And I had no idea that meant price went down sometimes.
Really?
But now that I've experienced it for 7, 8 years almost, right? Yeah, you get used to it. This is crypto. Even it doesn't mean your token's going to win or not. I'm just saying, don't be surprised by dips, and people shouldn't be running around. I mean, I just see too many people like totally capitulating. I mean, they're living the nightmare of buying, tops and selling bottoms.
Mm.
They're just living it, and that's why I'm keep bringing it up. So as we move to your next topic, I just wanted to get that out one more time. Volatility's in the game. When they said there's dips, they mean dips. These are dips, 40, 50, 80% sometimes. It wouldn't surprise me to see a 50% dip on all of the pulse chain assets. Am I predicting that? No. But if it happened, I'm not going to it hasn't changed my strategy.
We're down 65% on PulseX. We got Crypto Heartbeat in the chat. Welcome.
Woo, Crypto Heartbeat.
Yeah.
What if?
Yes.
So
we need
talking about like
fireside talking. Man.
Should we be allowed to talk about the public activities of public addresses? I don't know. I'm kind of on the side of saying yeah. I mean, because
saying yeah about what? What's your position?
We should be able to talk about it. I think it's good to let everyone know, hey, the sacrifice money just went into Ethereum at like $4,000 each.
What does that have to do with us?
Well, I think it's interesting that we can be able to talk about it and derive, what may or may not happen from that, right? So
the world's largest DAI holder didn't want to hold DAI anymore. Yeah, it sounds significant from a broad crypto perspective. $600 million that were on the sidelines in a stable coin now are sitting in Ethereum. And I think that's interesting from a market perspective.
I had an idea. Real quick. What if the whole MO of the OA was simply to raise money in a bull market, turn it into stable coins, ride it into the bear market, and then they know that Bitcoin and Ethereum were the chosen coins. They know that those coins are going to go up in the future. Buy into the Ethereum when it's pretty low, and then as it goes up, take back the principal and then take all the profits and feed it into his coins, and then rinse and repeat every bear and bull cycle. So like $500 million.
It sounds like expectations.
You heard it here, folks. First, no pump this cycle. Come back in 4 years. Let's go, Briz. That's awesome theory. Nobody's pumping your bags. You better pump them yourself.
Maybe it's an elaborate buy and burn for Ethereum. Maybe all that ETH just goes away and never helps us.
Occam's razor.
I'm just trying to think, like, what would I do if I had control of $600 million?
I wouldn't be on this show probably.
Yeah.
I might be airdropping.
I'm offended.
I might be airdropping.
We haven't all made $600 million yet.
Nah, dude.
You guys don't have 600 million?
I've met a few. I've met a few people that have, and yeah, I mean, I'd like to join that club in a way, but I don't need 600 million anyway.
So I see what you guys are doing. You're just on the show until you make $600 million.
That's right. We're using you, Natty.
Wow.
We're going to on the back of the ship.
Wow.
Hey, can we break
Going into
this?
the sunset.
Can we break this discussion down about should you report, should you not report?
Yeah.
Our
We can do
community probably is the most open community with information out of all the cryptos. I
Ooh,
mean,
good point.
there are 4 or 5 people that can provide all the same information I provide, maybe not the same way. 100 of websites, tons of information you can verify. You can go on chain and see it. So it's out there. What I would say to you is just in all of crypto, what would anybody have to talk about if somebody didn't observe something? They're going to observe something, right? So it doesn't matter if they're talking about Bitcoin. I mean, how did you know that the US government sent something to Coinbase? Don't talk about it. Well, here's the thing, right? The information's out there. This is about freedom of speech. Certainly that's one of the angles here. We should be able to talk about it. And I know some people might not like the idea that it's a democratic society, but and some people might call it a republic. But whatever, our freedom, the idea that we can do stuff, we should be able to talk about it. Now, there's a different question, which is, should you talk about it, right? Which is a little bit different, There are some things that are better left unsaid, maybe, if it's in your best interest. I don't know, but those are individual decisions, right? I don't like the FUD, like I don't care. I mean, honestly, I can't. I know so little about what actually is happening in somebody's mind out there that all I really can do is judge based on past performance, and I've really taken that tact in my thinking with the OA. Can they do anything? Could do anything. What has it done? It did this. What is it likely to do? Probably more of this. This endless banter back and forth about the OA, took a crap and and did this and did that, and the world's ending, and then the next day somebody else is like, "Hey, it's the resurrection. We're all back." You know. Anyway, sorry. You give me a little ranty. I think
Yeah,
I think we just
I
let open society freedom reign.
I want to say for the record that getting the idea for this show, I was reading tweets from people who were arguing that the OA should not be reported on so broadly. And those are people that I respect who were arguing that, and my mind is not made up. I think it's fun that the accusation is people are doing it for likes. I know that there are people who are probably doing it even though they don't care about the social benefits or the likes, so to speak. But here, let me see if I can bring up this this tweet.
I like good constructive criticism, and I think that's real healthy. But you know what, dude? When I see people that I have respected for a long time, they go off the deep end, and it's not a constructive discussion. It's making things up, basically. Hey, this is a theory. It's different. If we're doing think tanks, we're going to come up with 1,000 different theories, right? And some of them have almost no chance of having happened, right? Or to happen. We should be able to explore all that stuff if we choose to, right? But I vote with my feet with people that cross my line, what I think is the line, right? And so, yeah, I mean, I kind of like that people talk about it because it exposes what their true beliefs are. And I'm not saying they have to agree with Richard Hart for me to continue to interact or follow them,
So I didn't end up actually tweeting this, but I was thinking earlier today, like, it's an easy trap blaming volatility instead of expecting it. First, you could say it's the whale's fault for buying and then selling, which is what everybody does. Then it's the YouTuber's fault for dopamine dealing. And I don't think you should ever hate on people who are speaking up for your bags positively for free on hundreds of occasions. And then you could say, well, for me, my experience in cryptos has been the price goes up anyway, no matter all like the blaming that's happening. The price can still go up and leave behind the traders. And that just because that's past performance doesn't equal the future. It's not financial advice. So what's with this attitude to treat the OA like the Fight Club rules number 1 through 2? For me, I don't have expectations, which is really cool. I didn't even know I was really getting an airdrop. But that doesn't mean that the OA isn't making history in the crypto space. You tell me what other coin has an origin address with a unique player or players who are building a 4.5-year track record of buying instead of selling their own coins. You will find this nowhere else in crypto. I think it's important to recognize without expectations. The reality of this situation, which you may or may not like, is that it really only takes 3 guys who are billionaires in crypto to cause pulsechain or Hex or anything to do a 10,000x. That's what we're dealing with here. Is that like you could onboard a lot of people and they could find a lot of utility in paying their future self or having low fees to transact on a EVM compatible full system state chain. There's so many things that we like about PulseX, about Inc., about pulsechain, about Hex. These are unique value propositions. And at the end of the day, these whales can move the markets. So I really think it's instead of just blaming whoever's reporting on the OA or whoever, is broadcasting, bringing attention to your bags, I think, I think we're going to have our ups and downs. So it's fine.
Well,
It can still work out.
Kind of jumping off of that, right? You just
Please.
heard what I said, and I was like, hey, everybody should be able to talk about whatever they want, right? Okay, I believe that. Why would you FUD your own bags? So this is where the other side of this is coming in, right? Why would you deliberately, make things look sketch, talk about things in weird ways, air your most
Do you have an example?
personal fears? The OA selling on our heads. I know he is.
Typically, because those people have already sold their coins, and now they just kind of they want everyone else to sell their coins. They want to take down the thing they dislike nowadays. Real quick, guys, I've seen this in the workplace where someone quits, and then they're like, "Hey, you should quit too." Yeah, let's all quit together, right? Yeah, we'll really screw them over. And really, you're just like one salty person. The other people are like, I kind of need this money.
Well, yeah, dude, because what happens is and this goes into the psychological part, and I'm sure Maddie has an example of this. If you made a decision to do something and I didn't because I didn't agree with it, it reinforces that you are wrong. You have to be wrong. Because if you're not wrong, that means I'm wrong. And that is I don't know what the terminology is for that, but that's a very psychological thing. You see it during breakups. People can't be friends with not everybody, but people tend not to be friends anymore with, exes of their friend and vice versa.
Misery loves company type
when
of
you
deal,
quit,
right?
when you quit a company, the same type of thing. What about hey, if I quit because I'm an indentured slave, well, what does that say about you? You stayed. I must be wrong. It must be because I can't fit in, not because it's a bad situation, right? So people do that, so you might be right that maybe when people made the decision to get all the way out, like that guy Silver, and now's the time to come back into Litecoin. Hey, they're not going to talk about Hex anymore. That was bad.
I also noticed like when people leave and sell, like I get angry. And I had to take a step back. I'm like, why am I getting angry that someone else has left? And I kind of came up with the idea of that. I think it's a psychological thing. They're basically signaling to everyone else that they don't believe in the thing that I still believe in. And so now it's kind of like, well, who's right and who's wrong? Was it smart to dump your Hex at like 50 cents? Well, I would say no, because now you don't believe in the thing. But, no one knew the price was going to go down that much, I guess. Hello, Mr. Toby.
Hello, Brisology.
I'm surprised you showed your face around here, buddy.
Oh God.
Hey, mister. You just
I'm-
wait. You
I'm
just wait.
I'm voting with my feet. I'm out. That's it.
I think I addressed it on Twitter. Number one, I am on day 12 of a cleanse, so I'm a little saltier on Twitter than I would be otherwise. Because
Wouldn't you be
won't
less?
have any in 2
Wouldn't you be
weeks.
less salty?
Well, yeah, maybe. I guess it depends on how you qualify it. But yeah. So basically, Briz had posted an image of $700 gas.
Is your audio up all the way?
It can
Or is
be
it
up
just
higher.
me?
Is that better? I think you can adjust it on your end. I was
Well,
told.
before we jump into this whole thing,
it's quick. It's
let's-
easy. It's quick and easy. Basically, all I was saying is much like I try to do here on stream and on Twitter generally, I try to always be transparent and when I'm talking about something, not be too biased to one perspective, and I try to be open-minded and show all sides of something. So if you're going to show a screenshot of $700 gas, that's not a fair assessment of where the hex situation is, because I know that's what you were talking about, because you were trying to end a stake, right? And it's like, granted, that's dog shit, but if you wait, I mean, I had one that I thought was going to be over $1,000 and ended up costing me $178. Did it still suck? Absolutely. $178 is not 2 cents, or less than a penny on pulsechain, but it's not $700. So that was my only contention with the post of I kind of saw where you were going, and it's like,
but that
okay,
was
you're
the
showing
that
something.
was the feed when I tried
At
to
that
end
moment,
the
I don't
stick.
doubt it. I don't doubt it. It jumps around like
And
crazy.
that was at midnight, by the way.
Yep.
Here's the deal. I tried it again at 2:30 in the morning, and I got it down to $300. Oh,
Yeah.
wow! Thank you.
Right, I know. Thank you, Vitalik.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're
right.
so sweet.
Oh, it's funny you guys are talking about this. I had no idea you guys had a beef because I blocked both of you on Twitter. Because
I'd mute me too.
I'm tired of the fun. No, I didn't do that. I just didn't pay attention to that. But I had just updated the ETH, the gas report right before this time, before the session, and I can see, last night it was $700 people were ending for. How long was the stake? Can one of you guys tell me that?
Mine was from the end of 2021, so it was a longer one. It was 2.5 years.
Mine was 3.5 years.
How many days? It was going to be the days, so I don't have to measure.
It's like over 1,000 days, 1,200 days, something like that.
It was like October or November of 2020.
So we're going to say 3 years. 1,095?
No. 3.5 times 365, 1,277. Use that.
1,277. All right. I'll tell you exactly what it's all.
I've adjusted my volume. Hopefully that's better. Is that good?
Yeah.
You need it up more. Okay, cool.
Much better.
And I heard you guys talking about the OA thing. I'm kind of with Maddie on that. It's like I'm on the fence. It's like, yeah, freedom of speech. Crispy nailed all points, all sides of it. Very diplomatic approach, which is also how I try to be. But yeah, freedom of speech. Anybody, it's public information, right? So anyone can do it. But is it prudent to feed the trolls? Is the way that I kind of look at it, because there's a lot of people that take that information and spin it in negative ways, whether they're doing it willfully or they're willfully ignorant. And it ends up maybe potentially doing more harm than good. To share that information, I think it can be useful, to know those things. And from my perspective, it has only made me feel more confident going forward. But Twitter is a different space, right? And there's going to be people that are just looking for things to attack and spin in a negative light. So I can understand Motley's take on it. I'm actually wearing one of Motley's t-shirts. It's a very well worn Hex OG t-shirt, but I respect his opinion. I think that he's not too far off the mark on that, because it does make you wonder why some people do it. Is it for the clicks? Is it for the likes and the engagement? But Crispy, you were doing the math on that stake.
Yeah, I just wanted to grab the longest one that I can. I'll tell you guys,
Yeah, if
what
it's
I come
that
up
long,
with.
300 might be about as good as you're going to get, because mine was about a year shorter than that, and 178 felt like a gift.
Yeah.
Do you,
Yeah.
do you
Yeah,
remember what
I
the
kind
GUI
of
was at that point?
figured. What was that?
Do you remember what the GUI was at that point? Yeah, I don't either.
I just kind of figured, you know,
So what are you guys trying to say? Are you trying to say EHEX is fine, or what's the point of bringing up gas?
Well,
What are
I
you
mean,
what are you
that's-
getting at?
Yeah, what are you getting at,
me
Brian?
and Toby, we got into a little scuffle on Twitter.
Yeah, he had made a post
And he
showing how
wanted,
expensive the gas was, and I felt like it was beating a dead horse to kind of once again show how broken EHEX is, which obviously we all know EHEX isn't broken. Ethereum is the issue. And I kind of called him out on it a bit, just like, hey, it's like, let's be honest about it. And what I meant by that is like, let's show both sides. Like, it's not always that bad. Like, let's not show the worst case example. And it was an honest example, like you said just now. It's like, that was at that moment. But I would have approached it a different way, saying like, man,
Yeah.
it could be this bad, but here's this other side where you can get it down a little cheaper, but it's still nowhere in comparison to what you can do on pulsechain. I think EHEX is bottoming personally. I mean, that giant parallel channel that's been going for 3 years, it's like we've been skipping off of it for a week now. So so I think whichever way you want to play it, a liquid hold and see if somebody pumps it, liquidity's low. I'm not buying anything right now. It's like I'm just kind of waiting and seeing. But
That's
my
not
old
good.
self, with bigger bags of dry powder. My dry powder is like a dry dustbin right now. But my old self would be buying like crazy at these levels if I saw something on such strong support. But still, even then, I would only allocate 20% toward that, and the other 80% toward the other RH tokens.
Yeah, and I spent the 300 to collect like $160 worth, because I figured, maybe in a year or two, EHEX will probably be at a 10 or a 20x, and it'll be worth a lot more than the $300 gas fee. And I figured also, if I collect it now collecting it now would be better than waiting after it does like a 10x, because then the gas fees are also going to be crazy high. And so so that was my whole reasoning on spending 300 to collect the 160. And then I also bought an equal amount or greater of PHEX.
I saw that. Good
'Cause
move.
at first I wasn't sure if I was even gonna collect the EHEX or not, so I bought the PHEX. I'm like, you know what? Use some of my ink, put it over there, and boom.
Done and done.
Well, here's some facts and figures for you, Toby. Why it's a big deal to us, to me. So back in October, to end a stake in that 1,275 range was about $25. And most recently, and as we've come into February and March, we've got anywhere from $200 to $700. That's not empirical, just kind of a range. And
Right.
it definitely makes a big difference, on when somebody, somebody's watching the GUI, they could really, clean it up. But this is really an issue. I mean, it's a real issue, right? Because I have all sorts of stakes that are coming out now that, they don't make any sense to end, and so be it. That's how it is. And
Yep.
and that doesn't mean I think that EHEX could go away. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff going on right now. I mean, I could
Right.
talk about 6 different things having to do with HEX that are happening that are just off the hook, But
Do it. Do
yeah.
it. I'll put my hex hat on.
Right. So
Let's
can we
talk
get
about
past
hex.
can we get past the gas issue?
Sure. Oh yeah,
Hey, here-
I think it's done.
Never.
I think everyone understands.
Never.
You already missed the Briz FUD that there's going to be no pump on pulsechain.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
For-
Oh, man,
for
we
4
should
more
be waiting
years.
around on Sack Daddy.
What
anyhow.
what did I say?
I heard that part. I was listening to it in the car.
He's selling everything into stables now. He's going to hold them and wait for the bottom.
Well,
That's
the
right,
thing,
baby.
had I been
Where
here
where does
when
that
this-
come from?
That's
when Bruce was
that's my interpretation of Bruce's comment. That's all.
yeah, when Bruce was
But
talking
I'm
about
j-
the
I'm
potential
joking.
for the behavior of the OA during the bull and bear, the coming bull and bear. My take on that would be just like a little amendment to what he was saying is that could very well be a smart move, to move it into stables at the top of the bull. And then as the bear comes around, you've got all that to deploy. So instead of deploying it into Bitcoin and Ethereum, like he was suggesting, the green candles would stick out like a sore thumb if everything is going down and all of a sudden pulsechain and pulsex and everything else is still pumping. So that would get a lot of attention. So it seems to me like, if you're obviously the OA has shown, a propensity to inject some capital at very specific points. Seems to me like that would be a good time to do it, because the floor is lava. How many times did we see those tweets? So in the bear and
but people weren't reporting on it. So
no. Well, maybe this
Oh
time around,
God. Well,
Imagine.
hey, listen, for anybody who just heard you talk about that and they go, that's market manipulation. That's market making. So
Right.
I want people to get this really clear in your head. You guys go out. I mean, don't go do it because we don't want another 10,000 coins out there. But go to the test net still and go create a token and go play and understand this because it just gives you a whole different viewpoint when you actually have to provide liquidity. To understand that the best thing you can do for an asset you care about is to try to take care of it. And that means doing things like taking LP and converting it into stables towards the top so that when the invariable bottom comes, you can come back in, right, and support it. Now, I guess if that rubs people the wrong way, I guess you're in the wrong place because crypto goes up and down like this. Maybe it's different this time, though the 4-year cycle thinks it's rolling. My point is that is market making. What you guys are describing is market making. Otherwise, there's no value left for that market maker to supply market. They can't do anything.
Yep.
So unless everybody else is going to step up, these coins die, which is exactly what you've seen with a lot of different pumps and whatnot when new tokens come out. You can't just throw a token out there and say, "Oh, nobody's going to support." Maybe the market will support it. Let the market decide. Man, you can't get 10,000 of these cats to even walk in the same direction. Never mind
Right.
put up LP. Sorry,
Yep.
but I just want to comment on that.
I 100% agree with that. If you're gonna seriously launch a coin like Andrew Tate, he's like, I'm gonna launch a coin. I'm gonna back with $100 million. It's like, yeah, if you're gonna do a serious attempt at launching a new currency, you really got to have like backing behind it because there's so many lettuce hand soy boys out there that will dump it into dollars at the first chance they get. And how much money is still from the SAC into the ETH funds? Is it the full amount still, or did any of it change?
ETH went down, and I don't know, maybe like 30 million has been deployed.
Is the full 600 million still in ETH?
Well, it went down like 10 or 20%. So it's.
Oh no! I'm talking about
all the ETH still there. The ETH that was acquired.
Supposedly, that's what.
Like he didn't sell any of the ETH, correct?
Supposedly.
So I'm just thinking, what if he just pulls out? What if he gets a 4x in this bull market with ETH, and he pulls out 25% and gets back the principal, and then just puts the other 75% all into the pulsechain assets? That would.
So why would people buy pulsechain instead of just buying ETH and getting 100% of the 4x right away?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Like instead of taking leverage on Ethereum by hoping that somebody else rotates their profits into pulsechain, why wouldn't the person who's speculating just skip the whole buying pulsechain process and just buy Ethereum directly themselves? And then they get 100% of the 4x, not just 25% that you suggested.
Well, Well, you're taking a
talking about
chance
the
that while
OA.
ETH is pumping, you're missing a pulse pump.
I'm talking about what if the OA gets a 4x and then they take 25% back, they take the $600 million back, and then they take the 1.8 billion and they deploy it, and the OA
In that
deploys-
example, you would do better buying ETH because 100%, you're getting 100% of the price move.
I don't think so. I think whoever puts 1.8 billion dollars into pulse chain assets, I think that's going to pump a lot more than a 4x. I'm saying, what if the OA sells the ETH at a 4x and puts it into the
Here's an
pulse chain?
idea. What
That's
if
what I'm
the
saying.
community stopped hating on each other and being dramatic
Yeah.
and onboarded some billionaires? What would
Yeah,
happen
you-
then?
Yeah,
If we weren't just crying to daddy every time the price goes down and we were actually doing onboarding of like rich new people? What if people were donating to the Hex postcards?
Maddie, the world doesn't give a shit about crypto right now. The world doesn't give a shit about crypto. They don't give a shit about security. They don't give a shit about AI overlords. They just want to watch football and they want to watch Lizzo dance and play the flute. Okay?
False.
That's what they want. all
People
right?
want meme coins.
No.
So tomorrow I'm going to speak at another, it'll be my third Twitter Spaces where there's a couple thousand people who don't know or care
Maddie,
about
people
ink.
don't
And
give
I'm
a
going to pump
shit
your
about
guys'
money.
bags, even though you have more ink than me.
We're at strong support right now on Inc.
I'm
in my
just
opinion.
saying-
So do it.
Most
timing.
people don't give a shit about investing, Maddie. So
Well,
I'm
I think it's the
sorry.
same logic that makes, the bear
That's
the
true.
bear and the bull, is that people love to buy green candles. And that's why we've all experienced it's way easier. Like, whose phone's blowing up now, right? To like, hey, what about that crypto thing you were talking to me about a few years ago? A few weeks ago, I was getting inundated with phone calls. And I was onboarding actively way more than usual. Because, it never stops for me. It's like I'm always trying to onboard people or at least educate and kind of like,
Thank you.
kind of sprinkle a little bit of interest out there, and then see what, if they come back around and want to dig in and learn. But when it's pumping, it's way easier and people are ready to open their wallets and actually commit and put the time in and get their treasures and do it right. It's a harder sell now. And I get it. It's difficult, but the reality of the situation is that's where energy should be being expended in real life. You're not going to onboard anybody on fucking Twitter. It's just not happening. You know what I mean? It's very unlikely that we're going to change anybody's mind that's on Twitter, in my opinion. It's already a bubble within a bubble, and people that are in crypto Twitter are already in crypto. So they're going to tell you about the coin they think is going to do 100x. They're not going to necessarily bite on what you're trying to educate them on. So there might be a little bit of a return on the investment and time trying to do such things online. I've heard some good things about like HexMax Facebook group. I've heard that actually has, gotten some traction with people.
Nice.
But for my experience in real life is where it's at, and everyone's got even if they're not into crypto at all, they've got a coin to shill in real life too. But, if you can start to talk to them about it, dollars to donuts, I'm telling you, it's like what we've got's better than whatever they're pitching.
I'm just saying, at $16,000 Ethereum, the OA has $22.4 billion now
Yeah, it's silly.
with those SAC funds.
It's a silly amount of money, and then it's a matter of like just like now, it's like what's the best way to deploy that? That's not a decision any of us can make. That's something that he's or they are going to do.
Yeah, but
so
everybody on Ethereum will have 4 times the amount of money then. And like, instead of crying to daddy, we should be talking to the new people.
Yeah, I guess.
And people making gains like even in meme
Hey,
coins
new
and stuff. I mean,
people.
that's been the stump I've been on forever. Is what do you do? Where do you store your gains? Right? Do you ride whatever the flavor of the week is, up and over the top and down forever and hope for another pump like meme coins people do all the time because they're holding out for a Doge like chart. If you sell on a double and you got a moon bag, still there's value there. Are you going to let that go to zero or go to dog shit? Or, maybe it's time to rotate out of some of that stuff into a better long-term play, which I still think Hex is the best store of value ever created. So to me, it's just like people stacking sats, right? What do? They go make money on other stuff and they buy Bitcoin. They DCA into Bitcoin with their profits because that's the big daddy, right? That's the one that's going to be around. It's been around and it's not going anywhere. So, my thinking is if we truly believe that Hex is a better Bitcoin, then instead of stacking sats, stack T-shares, right? I mean, it's like that's my personal methodology. Now, also, I'm a day 2 OG, and my portfolio is less than a 2x right now. I understand the pain of this from everyone, and you got to make your own choices on these things. But to me, still, my conviction is not wavered at all.
We have about a year and a half to make all of my predictions come true. So I'm gonna need you guys to step up a little bit here, okay? This is like 6 weeks old. I properly called Biden gets laser eyes. I called it before it happened. I believe that Eric Wall will cry. Taylor Swift will get an RH tattoo. RH will get a Taylor Swift tattoo. Coinbase will list pulsechain. Bitcoin flips gold. Hex flips Bitcoin. PulseX flips Pulse. Pulse flips ETH. And don't worry about Gophers.
Yeah.
Bankx helps Hex. Are you guys listening? Bankx helps Hex is on my bingo card. I don't get credit for this spot if Bankx doesn't help Hex.
Got it.
Please, Bankx, pay attention.
Would them exiting the system help?
It needs to be a clear victory to get marked on my card. Did Biden have laser eyes? Nobody questioned it because he did.
Oh, listen, I got to tell you, Bankx has helped. That's what I think. So I just would like to state that I believe that. I mean, just
help more.
Just the fact that they bridged over to pulsechain where there's more LP is a help, guys. It's a help to do that. I don't know the exact details, how they got tokens, why they have tokens, blah, 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 but they got the tokens, right? And so there's a lot more liquidity to go to, and there's a lot more options. And I saw a note out there from one of the X accounts out there saying, hey, here's a theory for you. Swap all that into ink and ride ink up. And I think that's a wonderful idea because I think that actually ink will do a lot better. It has the ability to do a lot better X's wise than a lot of other things.
But then how are they going to back their silver coin?
How are they going to back it in the first place? They have Hex, right? So they're going to swap eventually out. But if they were looking for gains or something like that, they could do it that way. That's my that's my point. But I mean, they're obviously reacting to the situation and working within the system, and that would be another way for them to take the pressure off the whole EHEX thing, is getting out of EHEX completely. Anyways, hey, listen, they got to decide. I don't decide for it, but I would like to see that. But it has opened up a whole new thing. In fact, there's another crackpot theory that maybe I made up that that hey, maybe we're going to see a reverse pegging. Maybe PHEX is going to come down to the price of EHEX.
Ooh,
What?
I like that.
Why would that be a good thing?
Well, right now it might not be with sort of some of the externalities that we have, but if you're a parity thinking type of person, where hex is a hex is a hex, yeah, bring it back down to
it's
to
still
the same
5-to-1 ratio, though.
Yeah, I know. So it'd be a big hit. I told you it was crackpot. I didn't say it. I could support it.
Yeah, it's kind of a
Hey,
bad theory.
What's the deal with the hearing? What date was that? Was it April 18th or 11th? What, I can't remember when that's supposed to happen.
April 11th.
April 11th. So right around the corner. 9 days.
Do you guys think Richard created Hex with the 15-year long stake and he didn't have a 15-year long plan?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Irrelevant.
No, it's not irrelevant because
Dude, it's let me tell you,
I
he's
think he has
he's like China. He's got a 1,000-year plan. He ain't on a
yeah,
50-year plan.
exactly.
What are you talking about?
I think he has a plan, and guess what? I'm going to try and guess what that plan is. So all of y'all that want me to be quiet about the SAC money, no. How about that?
You dirty.
You come and get Elon to kill my Twitter account. I'm sorry, X.com account. I'll never stop speaking the truth.
Well,
or
you got
my-
a badge, so follow the rules. Don't get everybody banned.
That's true.
Can I send my
He's on
crypto
on
on
the cusp.
X?
He's on probation.
Yeah, you can. Did you know that?
Wait, what?
No, I
Do
don't.
what?
So can I do that now?
Okay, so on mobile only, there is a button that is it's like a tip button, and it brings it. Twitter allows you to enter your Ethereum address as a way for people to send you money on your profile on X mobile.
Web3 or no?
All it does is it copies your Ethereum address. What we know is that your Ethereum address can be the same as your pulsechain address. And so there's already, like an opening there for people to tip and pulse. Now, I did announce in the past week that I am putting on this program to gift all the speakers for the upcoming Pulse conference a Pulse Domains NFT. And what this will do is it'll allow you to receive tips during the conference and all year round in a way that you can link into your Twitter, which is going to be really cool. And I hope it takes off into the multi-billion-dollar industry of content creation, because Pulse seems like a really cool way for people to be able to cut out middlemen. YouTube, they want a third, and that's before taxes. So yeah, there's a huge opportunity here for PulseChain to be used for something other than just speculation, but in fact to make payments on Twitter.
So tell me again on mobile where to go.
Go to my profile and you'll see a little $sign icon next to where it says like turn on notifications.
Right on. Oh, got it. Okay.
Do you see it now?
The little dollar icon. Yep. And then
if
send.
you
Right
tap
on.
that, then it copies my ETH and Pulse address.
Cool. And anyone can add that, or do you have to have like a certain number of followers, or?
I believe anybody can add it if you know where to go on mobile. They don't have it on a spot to put it in desktop. And the hack that we're trying to give everybody here is that I can create subdomains in Pulse domains for free. Only the gas cost. So everybody who speaks at the Pulse conference will get a yourname.tips.pls address, and that becomes a Web 2 address that you can click on if you add .fyi on the end. So like the example that I have for you guys here that's ready to go right now is here. I've created an all my links that is integrated with Pulse because you can click here on maddie.pls.fyi and it will take you to a page where you can send me a tip in Pulse that fast. It'll just pop up in my MetaMask.
Cool.
And you can see my link tree. This is something I had to use my private key to sign off on. So you know that my identity is true if you believe that I'm the real Maddie and I'm telling you that my address is maddie.pls. So
Cool.
Really cool technology that that we can get out there. Normally you pay $169 for a 4-letter domain, $5 for 5 letters or more. But again, with the tips.pls being owned by Pulse Conference, now we'll be able to issue subdomains for free to show people what it's all about and create an environment where people can get tipped during the conference.
That's cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
And although I don't expect anyone to ever tip me for anything ever, if they do, anything I accumulate, I would figure out some sort of giveaway at some point, because I pride myself in never, ever, ever having accepted any funds for anything I've done. I haven't done the things to the scale Maddie's done. Maddie's out of pocket on stuff. It's like, me, it's just my time. I've volunteered my time to do things. So, Maddie having ticket sales for conferences and stuff was to help offset some costs. So that's a different thing. So I'm certainly not saying people doing work don't deserve payment. I'm just saying, for me personally, the thing that, I've always prided myself on is that I've never accepted any kind of payment for anything I've contributed to the community. So if I were to receive some tips, then I would come up with some sort of clever giveaway, maybe here on stream.
Tipping online is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it there are millions of content creators out there that are getting screwed over by middlemen. And so that's why I'm excited that there might be some more news coming in the future from Pulse Domains and from pulsechainconference.com regarding that.
Back in the last bull cycle, I think was maybe it was before that even, but I remember looking into Brave a bit, and there was a whole thing where, from watching ads or whatever, you would accumulate like points or something, and then you could tip certain creators. Like if there's a particular blog you were reading that you liked, or whatever kind of website, you could send them the Brave token, I guess, or whatever you were accumulating. So it's kind of like that too, to a way to show support to creators that are putting out content that you appreciate.
And then we also made the announcement that we've started inviting people to speak for the upcoming pulsechainconference.com May 10th through 13th. So that's really exciting. Lots of people already signed up. I'm still sending out. I still haven't messaged everybody who's spoken at a previous conference, but I hit up about 70 to 100 inboxes already. So go ahead and fill out that survey if you've spoken before. Now, if you've never spoken at a Pulse Chain conference before, then we're going to have an opportunity to sign up. And then also, right now, we're only accepting people who fall under the category of individuals. And then in the next week, if you're a protocol, you'll be allowed to sign up. And of course, we want to have,
I bet I've onboarded more people in real life than Johnny Chaos.
Yeah, Johnny should come on. Hey, for your conference, one of the things I'm every time this happens, you get this whole list of whiners afterwards. Maddie didn't invite me, right? Listen, if you can hear this and you're involved in Pulse Chain, you want to speak, just contact Maddie. I'm sure
in fact, the way to speak, if you've never spoken before, is to pay attention to pulsechainconference.com blog. And as I did for the last text conference, I added a link for anybody to sign up to speak. And I can tell you, everybody who signed up to speak got to speak. So you're right that people will still whine, but they did not pay attention.
Well, yeah, and I say that kind of nicely. There's some people that are just idiotic about it. Maddie hates me, blah blah blah. But the other people are just like, listen, there's a whole world out here. Like I was telling you, I've been investigating this whole NFT thing, and like I'm a boomer, so I can like talk about it like that, like an NFT thing. Anyways, not really a boomer, but nevertheless, like I have that one project I sent over to you, the 404 Mon guys, right? They they're like, how would we even get involved in that? I mean, how do we get involved? I'm like, well, I guess I'll ask Maddie first, but I'm thinking, I'll just send him the invite, man. Sign up if you got something to talk about. And it does go hand in hand. Now, listen, guys, of course, I'm like Hex Maxi thinking and all that, but this is Pulse Chain. It is the Pulse Chain conference. One of the things about it attracting people is you need things like NFTs, 404 NFTs.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much being built on Pulse Chain, and that's why I'm structuring the conference this year for people to choose. Are you representing RH tickers? Are you representing Pulse Chain? Or are you representing a brand that's building on top? And so we'll have a clear designation of all types. And, you know, again, this is the whole point of the Hex conference was to talk about Hex. The whole point of the pulsechain conference is to talk about everything on pulsechain.
Do it. Yeah, and to Johnny's point, right? We need to be trying to fill seats. I mean, meaning we want to make more people aware of this wonderful ecosystem, man. You know, hey, the tipping thing you mentioned too. You know, all those other maxis out there, they're going to set up all their wallets. You should be able to tip them once they get started with it too.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah, and people can
outside
go
of
right
that.
now to pulse domains and set up their tipping thing. This will just put it front and center in the entire community that here's something that all the speakers have done is they submitted a fresh address, and then I was able to send them an NFT that I can't revoke that allows them to set up their link tree. And we were very thankful that the Pulse Domains team extended the tips.pls domain for 10 years. So when you get gifted your tipping address, it will be good for 10 years. It's not $5 a year. It's $0 a year. So that makes a big difference in being able to scale something and have this proof of concept that like, hey, no matter what industry you're in of content creation, whether you're a YouTuber or you're on Rumble or you're on a naughty website, like whatever it is, if you're trying to get tips, why not get tips in PLS and cut out the middleman fees of 30%, 50%, 70% in some cases? So that would be really cool to see pulsechain get its use case, because Fresh and Fit and Andrew Tate and you know, the NPR, you know, they're all accepting tips from pulsechain. That'd be really cool. So if you're one of those people, reach out to me.
I have a question that's not related to this. Is that all right?
Are you going to be nice to Johnny?
Yeah.
All right.
My
That's the
question is
condition.
this. And this is game theory. And guess what? I'm about to upset a whole bunch of people. But I have a question. Is it okay if Richard extracts a whole bunch of money out of the system and brings down the price to absurdly low levels just to allow new investors to get on the train?
New investors can already get in at today's prices that are a really great deal.
But
so
we have
why would
prices.
the deal need to be any better?
Well, the deal
You don't-
before. Now listen, the deal
right.
before was 50-cent hex. Now it's 1 cent hex. That is an amazing opportunity for new people.
But that has
the
nothing
boat.
to do with Richard. That has everything to do with Hex
I
people.
didn't say it did. You're not listening to me. This is a game theory question.
Okay.
Is it ethically and morally okay if Richard were to bring down the price from 50 cents all the way down to a penny just to allow new people to get in at these absurdly low levels?
That doesn't add up. People don't get in when the price goes down. People sell more. It's called reflexivity. So if you want more people to get in, you raise the price. You don't lower it.
So we would get more people if the price was just at $1.
Well, hang on, Briz. I think I know where you're going, and maybe I can help.
Yeah,
color
maybe you
a little
can
differently.
explain it.
It's up to the market.
What I'm understanding is, like, obviously he can't bring the price down of his own accord, but it's kind of the concept of shakeout, right? That everyone always talks about shaking out the weekend. So that in effect brings the pricing down, because there are things like, you know, the tweets about EHEX. There are things about, you know, not being very vocal for long stretches of time, whatever, which would contribute in some people's mind to the length or the depth of the bear market, right? So the idea is that he's not actively trying to promote or pump to let the train slow down so more people have an opportunity to get on. Is that closer to what you're saying, Briz?
I think so.
Cool.
I'm just saying, what if Bitcoin went back down to $1? Wouldn't that be an amazing opportunity to get on and not be salty about $70,000 Bitcoin?
Lower
Sure.
prices are opportunities.
Yeah. Let's take it to 0 and leave it there so that the opportunity extends forever.
I didn't
That's
say leave it there.
the ideal.
I just said let's bring it down. I mean, if I wanted to get more people on board, raising the prices typically drives people into meme coins and NFTs because they're looking for the next best opportunity. Sorry, you're muted, ChrispyMan.
Can't hear you.
Why did you mute me, Chris? You don't want to hear what I have to say? You're afraid of it?
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about your favorite crypto, Bitcoin, just for a moment, right? Because this way we could take some of the emotion out of it. Maybe not for you, but for everybody else. Why do all these big participants allow Bitcoin to cycle low? Why? Well, because the market needs to go through and get out the weak-handed people. It's not something we made up. That's something that goes on, right? And it happens in the stock market as well. So why do all these people keep getting liquidated that are gambling on Bitcoin, right? Because people make moves specifically to fake them out. They put the ghost orders up. The big articles on that this week. They put the ghost orders up. The little fish chase the bait. They all reset. They drop the price. Boom. They all get liquidated. Vice versa, right? Knock them out. Make them sell at lows when people think it's going to be going down further than they change the price. So these are common tactics. What you're describing. They're common tactics within crypto, and some are a little bit more disingenuous than others maybe. But the point is there is a cycle, and you do need people to wash out. So perhaps that's what you're describing.
I'm just kind of talking about like if I was a brand new no coiner and I'm looking at all these things, I'm probably going to be looking at the next best thing instead of like a cycle 2 or a cycle 3 coin. However, what if the prices got so low that, like, it'd be dumb not to jump in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, some of us feel that way already. But yeah, if we went to minus 110%, yeah, I'm not sure that's possible. Yeah, man, how much EHEX I'd buy? Woo. How much hex I would buy? Pulse, whatever I could get my hands on, just basically for free, right? So yeah, I get your point. I don't know if that's really the strategy though. But hey, in think tank land, right? You know what a think tank is, or kind of like approximation of a think tank, where people like us would get
Is that
together.
like a fish tank?
Yeah, it's like that. People like us would get together, and we would put out every crazy idea and rate and score which ones we thought we would actually want to research and go research, and kind of dig into it. And so, no holds barred. But that doesn't mean that just because it's possible that somebody does it's going to happen, But I think it's important to evolving good strategies overall to think about all these different things. Yeah, either that or just come back in a few months, a year. Yeah, this is game theory, gang, right? So why wouldn't we?
Right.
Why wouldn't
Yeah,
we? Yeah,
RH basically did what Briz said, but only with the EHEX.
Or less.
What the fuck, Briz? You caused this?
Hey,
I'm the one.
You're always the
You're
one.
that did that.
Damn you, Briz. Did we talk about Crypto Ran yet?
No.
Yeah, I guess Sami was warning people about him creating his own meme coin, and just basically telling them like, be careful, because you're not going to be early on that, even if you're minutes in, because it's going to be pretty likely they're gonna have insiders that have a fuck ton of it. So it was a pretty salty topic, I guess. And Crypto Ran actually showed a clip of Sami being critical of his project, which I thought was funny and a little
saw him
chancy
in the
for
water.
Crypto Ran because
He shouldn't be
like,
allowed to talk about Sami.
oh, come on now. It's like we like Sami. Sami's welcome here, but my take on it was like that was a bad play by Rand because it's like Sami's funny as hell, very educated, a great up and coming streamer, and it would be really interesting to see if there's like an exodus from Crypto Rand's channel to Sami, you know, because it's like you just showed, you know, some stout competition in my opinion, because it's like I definitely like Sami more than
Competition
Crypto
for
Rand.
what though?
For influencing
Eyeballs.
right? For having a
Eyeballs, man.
baller stream.
Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out, but we shall see.
Oh, Hex Toshi, you're so right.
So what were all these interesting things about Hex that you wanted to share earlier, Crispy?
Oh, well, that was one of them, reverse parity. The other one is new project coming out. I don't know if we want to talk in too much detail about it, but Ben Sierra's working on a project. I don't know if it's official, but I saw some tweets and information out there having to do with rewarding EHEX holders with liquid,
Oh yeah.
a new liquid token. So that's out there. We're still waiting for the Hedron Icosa updates to drop. Those are things involving Hex anyways.
That reminded me back to the Sami thing. Did you see where he was talking about Comm?
Yeah, I did. I
Yeah.
did. Yeah.
And it's like I think that's a prime example of where there are times, much like Hex staking, where it's like he just hasn't done a legitimate deep dive to understand what it is he's talking about.
Well,
'Cause
yeah.
it's like,
Well,
I mean,
listen,
he was basically.
we're not going to change
We understand.
Sami.
No,
Sami,
but I think if
you
he
gotta-
had the information that I think he's self, kind of deprecating enough to where he would acknowledge it if it was, if there was new information that came to light. I would hope anyhow, because like Comm, it's like the whole thing, as we all know, it's incentivizing ideal behavior. It's not just in and of itself a coupon for people to stake Hex. It's, that's a narrative that it can be used for, famously shilled by Johnny Sachs. But it's, the whole idea is like longer staking benefits the system. And this is just an outsider third party that came in, Kodiak, and created this thing to kind of incentivize the behavior we would like to see.
Yeah,
it's that.
Well, at least by the original. And I got to tell you, I'm glad that Johnny came forward because I don't ever remember bringing Comm up on this channel ever before he came out. But he came up with his. This is a joke, Toby, because I've been talking about it.
I know for a while. It's where I first heard about it.
Just in case any of the 10,000 people who watch this don't get that joke.
Right.
But yeah. So we have that out there. Hey, listen, it's free tokens to you. So I like that part of it. The other, and of course you guys know I'm about to come. Did you see the Atropa dev? There were 3 hours of Atropa dev interview on KSB TV. For anybody who hasn't watched that, not to send them the channel, maybe we can.
I've seen parts of it.
Yeah, the video's over here. Anyways, they talked about Comm for about 15 or 20 minutes. It was great. And so, Maria, who is really, I guess it doesn't matter what sex he is. I guess don't know what he selected. Anyways, he.
That guy, that person that looks like a guy is named Maria. Or goes by Maria.
That's the difference.
Because
he has the longer name that's like foreign and like I'm not judging it as a.
And I'm not
gender name.
I'm not judging anything except for myself.
I thought it was another token coming out. I had no idea. I'm like, what's
no. Well, he was just describing everything. Anyways, they asked him about Comm, and he said, he clearly also didn't have a lot of information, but he was like, I don't think this is going to work. I think it's going to fail. That's my summary. So we thought that was kind of funny because he obviously didn't understand what we're doing. Or I say we're doing. I'm not part of the project, but I have Comm, right? And what that does. So, anyways, I thought those were two funny things that came up with Comm. Both of those are good ones. Yeah, because the Comm guys, a couple guys, this guy Brian, you guys have probably seen him posting, a couple other people, Johnny Sachs. They've been working, they've been working social media pretty hard, and that's why Sami finally reacted. Because Sami, in general, I mean, I don't know if other people talk to him. I talk to him once in a while. When the whole bot thing was going on, I talked about being a bot. I said, and I told him honestly, I'm sorry you're not a bot, because I liked talking to him before when I thought he was a bot. But anyways, I talked back and forth with him, but they had kept going after Sami, sending him text after text, on and putting him on Twitter. He finally responded. So that's an example of getting the attention you want. He maybe didn't agree with it, but here's the thing with Sami: you can't make Sami do something different. Sami's Sami, right?
Yeah.
He's
Somi is Somi.
Yeah,
he's not impervious to updating his worldview, though. I mean,
of course not. Of course not.
If he had the information, but he's like so inundated with IDOs and meme this and whatever, and attaching to himself to the latest buzz on crypto Twitter.
He's more like
He's
more like an acute care or emergency room doc than he is your general physician. He's like, how are you getting out of this with the least amount of damage this cycle? That's what his focus is. So to talk to him about Hex and staking, he doesn't want to talk about it. He's like, why am I going to be thinking about 5, 10, 15 years from now? He's worried about whether or not you're going to make it through the next year and a half. So hey, that's his bailiwick. I focus on. I think that if crypto survives, this survives, which I all think it will, otherwise it wouldn't be here. That if you lay the groundwork for the 5 to 15 years, you'll have the units you need.
Yep.
All right.
Well, I think it's our job to educate people, even of the stature of someone like Sami or Donovan Jolly or even Corey Costa. You know what I mean? Like people that don't fully embrace
even Corey.
Well, because Corey famously doesn't stake, right? It's like It's like to educate these guys of the benefits of it. It's like I think it's not that they're not capable of understanding it. It's like I think it's just not been thoroughly explained, to them, so they can see where that would make
What's
sense.
wrong with people not wanting to stake?
Well,
Dude.
think about it. It's like, I mean, are you in it for just this bull cycle? Like,
No.
what's your 5-year plan? What's your 10-year plan? What's your 15-year plan?
Dude, I'm staked for 12 and a half years.
Right. Bingo. Same. So that's
But that
my point,
doesn't mean I'm going to
not thinking.
send Corey Costa and Sami to a re-education camp to
Jesus Christ.
That's
a little extreme.
teach them about staking. Let them be who they want to be.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying.
Welcome them. Affirm them.
I
Tell them that they are welcome.
I do. I'm not discouraging them for participating in whatever way they
Really?
like. Not at all. I'm just saying that there are gaps in their knowledge base, and we have, as educators, have an opportunity to fill those.
That is very condescending.
Maybe.
Why can't they have just made a great decision to not stake? What's wrong with that?
It's okay, but
I don't think it's.
A portion of their bag being staked 5 years from now would serve them well.
I'm gonna defend Toby a little bit. I mean, you're making it sound like he's
beat me up.
Condescending. He's not being condescending. I mean, we all have different viewpoints, however we got them, and sometimes we want to try to share those with other people, and that it's worthwhile to try to share. But if somebody doesn't want to hear it, I mean, they got to come to things at their own time. So in fact, we talk about this lots of times. Even though I talk about Hex every single week, every single day, staking T-shares, the future is bright, and all that. It's actually better off for me that people really love Hex and speculate the hell out of it over the next 15 years. That's a lot better for me, because then I'll get 3,000 Hex per day per my T-share because you didn't get any, and I like that. But I'm not that selfish. I don't need that. So I continue to tell people about it. And like Maddie said, if they don't want to know, they don't want to know.
You guys think letting people just be not accepting the benefits of staking, that's like sending them to the meat grinder?
No, that's a stretch. I mean, there's benefits to both Yes, there's benefits to both. It's like, I mean, I'm not 100% staked. It's like, I mean, there's arguments for, 10%, 90%, and it's like that's typically kind of where I would keep things. Right now, I'm actually a little more than that because I've had some stakes end on the EHEX side that I am not inclined to restake at this point. So, but I think there's meat being left on the bone, as they say, if you're not staking at least part of your hex holdings. I mean, if you're not gonna liquidate all of it in the top of the bowl, what's the other play?
I like what Drick says. If you see someone using a hammer to eat a sandwich, they could probably use some re-education.
That's good. That's a good one.
My 2 cents is I've been a staked hexagon for over 3.5 years so far, and I'm looking at my numbers, and yeah, the prices are down, but my hex is up. Excuse me, I've made something like on my latest stakes that coming out monthly. Right now they're making 170, like 180% accumulation, basically making like on average 50% a year.
APY in hex terms.
APY in
Yeah.
hex terms.
Yeah.
And when the price goes like back up to like 50 cents and even to $1, it's going to be
Listen, it's all about units, man. And it's like a lot of this different stuff. I mean, there's just so much going on. We're seeing it in the trenches all day long, right? People are stuck on prices, and okay, they're going to do that. But if I was giving somebody advice, saying, hey, switch over, number one, to look at things in terms of the chain you're on, Pulse, right? Because that gives me a much cleaner view rather than worrying about dollar values. The other thing about it is kind of like what you're saying is so many people are just missing the opportunities because hex gets cheap, nobody wants to buy it. Last week everybody's buying ink, but now that it's 20%, 30% down, or was anyways, off of the price of Pulse. Well, I don't want any of that crap. It doesn't look like it's going away. Well,
Yeah.
nothing's changed, right? And so I picked up. I did swap some of the Pulse, right? Because there's some insinuation there. Maybe that I'm reading the market that perhaps what I want is more exposure to ink versus Pulse. But here's the problem when you start talking about. See, I say all these things I'm talking about. None of this has anything to do with long-term time commitments. None of it is about staking hex, right? And people, myself included, tend, unfortunately, unless we're really, really thinking about it and expending a lot of energy, we're black and white kind of people, right? And I don't mean by color. It's about how you make decisions, right? And so
All or none.
all or none. And so you end up being in this situation where, yeah, if you're a hex miner and you believe in that, you're lean really heavy, like I do, towards that. But I do find the more I mess around, the more I want to trade, and I know that I'm not alone because that is crypto, right? Trade, trade, trade. In fact, we're all going to wait to dump on each other's heads, and we're all going to call the top on at the same time. And it's good.
Doesn't
Don't
work
worry.
like that.
Find out.
It's just going to be orderly. And but here, you can see it in your own chats. I'm sure you guys are seeing it too. Certainly seeing it on X. I mean, every day, what's the new thing to chase? And
Meme coins on Solana.
people are
NFTs.
literally daisy chaining bottom sells. They're bottom selling one thing as another thing pumps to buy it at the top, and then they sell the next one at the low. And it's terrible. And so when you asked about whether you should be really telling people
That's a meat
about
grinder.
this to get them to keep them from going into the meat grinder, that's the meat grinder. Now everybody will tell you. Well, most people will just tell you, no, this is crypto. This is how it's supposed to be. You can do what you want. You're right. But hey, you know what? We do have a vision that we laid out as a community, led by Richard originally, which is long time horizons. HODL is better. Time in the market is better than timing the market. and I can hear 500 voices telling me I'm wrong. And
Quit
then
giving people confidence, Crispy Man. Don't you understand? You're throwing Richard under the SEC bus. Quit
what?
giving people confidence.
Confidence? I don't know. But anyways, you get my point, though, Bruce.
Insight.
You know.
I
Because
appreciate
otherwise
it.
you wouldn't have all these sticks out there.
Yeah.
Man, you guys are making me want to stake one ink in time pays me for 55 years.
Ink
I'm telling
stinks, man. You can't stake ink. Yeah,
And
you
time
could.
lock it.
You can, yeah, you can time lock it. You can time lock it. That's funny.
Well,
You never
yeah,
know.
that was a great point, Crispy.
Yeah,
Were you listening? Were you listening?
That's really
Yes.
exactly the point. Is that a lot of people just don't have the confidence to stay in a single asset for a long time because they don't know what's going to happen. And that's where I step in and I tell you what's gonna happen.
The financial
And
advice.
we're all getting cats in 2025. Right?
Hey,
Thought it was
Bruce,
girlfriends. Now it's
Nope.
cats.
We're getting cats now. We can't afford girlfriends. We can afford
boyfriends.
cat food. That's
Boyfriends would
about
be good
it.
too. Girlfriends, boyfriends. Hey, Bruce, have you ever done that? Have you ever gotten into a token and then got cold feet pretty quick, and then
Yeah.
or a coin, and then you're out, and then the thing pumps forever, or there's some huge
Yeah,
event
P
later.
die. Yeah,
Yeah, P does.
that's
That
happened
me
to
too.
me.
But I mean that's reality, right? And so yeah, it has to be some trust. There has to be in your belief of yourself, your decision making, right?
Yeah, you know what? I'll be honest. I can actually tell you the one coin that kind of did that is I got into the Patias sacrifice, and then it happened, and I got back all of my money. They gave me my SAC funds.
You
that
didn't get it back. You
for.
got airdropped
I got
tokens.
airdropped an equal amount of SAC fund, whatever coins, and I'm just kind of sitting there. The Patias coin doesn't really loop into the exchange at all. Didn't I don't think there's a buy and burn, and it just kind of felt like it was sitting there, and so I kind of got out at literally break even, and then it started going up a lot. I was like, oh damn it, but it's okay. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Maybe if they drop it back down really low, maybe I'll get in. Maybe I'll have a second chance if they lower the price really low.
I mean, that's the default token that comes up on their aggregators, so it's gotta be worth something.
It's got to be worth something.
But yeah, I mean, it was basically Brisology was like selling, and then people in the shadows were like, "Pump it."
Yeah,
I
he's out.
sold.
He's out.
Now it's go time. I also heard from the live chat tonight that the Atropa guy thinks that the hexes will reach parity again. So there you go.
Based on what?
I have no idea. I haven't watched these videos yet.
All right.
I
Well,
hope it does.
look,
I just saw a comment in the comments.
We don't take too kindly to rumors around here.
That's all we got, Manny.
As
That's all
he
we
said
got.
on Game Theory Game.
It's a rumor mill full of rumors. So
that's all we're running on. So
I mean, we got to fill the time with something, right? We're just waiting.
Just waiting for Johnny to come
bags,
back.
Right?
Yeah.
Waiting for Johnny
that
to come
too.
back. Nah, I'm not waiting on the sack daddy. I think it's just market stuff. I mean, if you look at the previous portions of the bear, RH would go silent for long periods of time. It's like because he knew that even as much influence and power as he has, and even resources, he can't fight the broader market. I mean, the sentiment is still bearish. And now, especially with this news from the U.S. government sending the Silk Roads coins to Coinbase, things like that are all, potential black swan type events. Now, granted, the amount of money that we're talking about would not do as big a dent in the Bitcoin price as people are probably fearing. But you have to look at history as well. Like the previous 2 cycles, post-halving, Bitcoin pulled back 39%. If Bitcoin's going to pull back 39%, I have a feeling, is that the time that we're going to pump? That'd be, I don't know, man. I mean, crazier things have happened, but I think until that all kind of comes and goes, we got some time, to continue to DCA in before the train leaves the station, so to speak, in my opinion.
The train has slowed down for everyone to get on. Either jump on or get left
at the
behind.
station. Yep.
And, you can't be like, well, Richard doesn't have like a track record. Yeah, he kind of does now. So, it's all the stars are aligning. That tells me we got a real winner here. And if Ethereum goes to 16,000, that means Richard is going to have like $2.4 billion to do whatever he wants with.
So if
Russ, I heard from a guy said he heard Pulse will make parity with ETH.
So if Pulse does a 1 million X, doesn't it reach parity with ETH? Bitcoin did a 7 million X.
Why
So-
can't it do a 1 million X?
Well, because we're dopamine dealers and we're no good, dirty people who just like getting likes. That's why.
That's right.
Wouldn't it be like 3.6 million X to get to the current ETH price?
I'll let it slide. Whether Pulse Chain wants to do a million X or a 3.9 million X or a 6 million X like Bitcoin, 7 million, whatever. I'm in.
That'll work.
Yeah, like 1,000 X from here is like 9 cents.
It would be 36 million X. 36 million X. What are we? 3 zeros and a 1?
You're saying to flip the price, but what about to flip the
Or
market
4
cap?
zeros, 9
market
7.
cap, I couldn't tell you. Yeah, the price would be 36 million X, but
Like, what does parity really mean? Because
like Weird
I
Al
guess
Yankovic parodies.
I guess
Like
Pulse Chain, it
ETH.
was, it expanded, didn't it create 1 million units for each unit of ETH? But then you had all the SAC funds qualifying as well. So
Yeah.
It will be interesting. It's not going to be boring. That's true. I mean, lately has felt a little boring. I think it's kind of like the quiet before the potential storm, because whatever news comes from this hearing on the 11th. I mean, I had a
The
tweet
8th?
about it. I can't,
On the 8th?
the 11th. Briz said the 11th. Is it the 8th?
well, look, the 8th is
made
the
that
Great
number up.
American Solar Eclipse, and everything that
Oh, right.
is with the court date is lining up with that. So I don't know how you could miss it.
That would be cool. But
My
I had a
source
tweet about it.
for that court date was that I made it up.
All right,
Oh,
cool story,
there you
bro.
go. That sounds about right.
So it's the
Par
8th,
for the
which is
course.
coming up on Monday. So before we have another game theory gang, there will be the second Great American Solar Eclipse in the past 8 years, and then we're gonna have to wait until 2035
All right,
to
I
get
did some
another
research.
solar eclipse
I
here
did
in the
some
U.S.
research on blood moons and how they affect the market. And to me, I don't think,
This isn't a blood moon.
yeah, but right before the blood moons, it seems like the elites use that as a marker to get out. So, like
The last solar eclipse, I remember Bitcoin was like 2,500, and then it went to 20,000.
yeah, I remember during the last blood moon, the market dipped really hard about a week before the blood moon happened.
Well, all right, we'll see.
Why?
We'll see how it goes. We got another special guest here, Anders. Welcome.
Anders.
Thank you, Maddie, and congratulations.
What's up, Anders?
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I'm taking full credit. I'm taking full credit for the solar. So congratulations or welcome.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Maddie.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hey, Maddie, I posted that tweet with the poll. I had a poll a couple of days ago. Said, what do you think will happen to the prices of all the RH tokens if the SEC case gets dismissed?
It's not getting dismissed on the 8th. Nuclear Herbs has already covered this.
I'm not saying it's going to happen on the 8th, but it's going to give us a little clarity, hopefully, if we're heading in the direction that we're all hoping. But what was interesting is there was 767 votes, and 51% said it should 10x plus.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's a little over exuberant. The second place category was no change until the actual bull at 23.6%.
Well, congrats for getting so many people to fill out the survey.
I am now not going to fill out your survey, sir.
Really?
No, I already did it. So,
All right, can I share my one thing about the blood moon? I found
sure,
my tweet.
please.
Is it good for Hex? Does it talk about the OA?
Can I light some Nag Champa first and smoke a joint?
Hell yeah. There we go. So I said, I saw someone mention.
Zoom in more. I can't see it. Hit Command plus or Control plus.
Is that good?
Bigger.
I can read it.
There we go. There we go. Yes, thank you.
Said, I saw someone mention a blood moon, which means a total lunar eclipse, and I started looking into the moon cycles and the prices of Bitcoin at the peak of 2021. New information has come to light. Get out before the lunar eclipse happens. Is that the marker for the elites? And then you kind of see this little picture. This is when the blood moon happened, and then boom, the price went down. And right here again, the blood moon happened right here, and all of a sudden the price just starts shooting down. And this
is it the opposite since it's a solar eclipse?
This was November 19th of 2021, and this was May 26th of 2021.
David says there was a blood moon last week. Full moon lunar eclipse is next week.
And look at that. The market's dumped.
No, it's a solar eclipse next week, not a lunar eclipse. They're different things.
So, Brisology, your research is well taken. Thank you for this woo-woo shit. It will definitely help people who have time machines to go back to the blood moon last week and sell.
Maddie, this is twice in a row now that you've got the biggest laugh of the week.
Hey, you know what? It works, all right? The markets are down. The lunar eclipse.
But you guys are still talking about fucking lunar eclipses. It's a solar eclipse on the 8th. You know the difference, right?
Respects the solar eclipse.
The lunar eclipse is when the Earth passes between the sun and the moon. A solar eclipse is when the moon passes between the Earth and the sun. So, if we're looking at the blood moon thing being a signal for going down, then maybe if we're going to stick with the woo-woo for a little longer, then maybe the solar eclipse is a sign of the bottom, and it's only up and to the right from then.
Yeah, because the moon is closer.
But the market just tanked. The market just went way down.
What about a transit of Venus? How does that come into play? Google that quick, Briz.
Compare that to some I can already tell you some things about what is it? What is it when Mercury is in retrograde?
Something all right. Like that, right? Yeah.
I can play the game.
You've also dated some hippies on here.
Like I said, these are just the markers that the elites use to, keep us enslaved. All right.
For a split second, I thought Anders was frozen, but I think he's just unimpressed with our American humor.
Yeah.
Anders said he had some positive things to share. So
yeah, Anders, go for it, bro.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, we are officially not going out until next week when we are going to be in Dubai in the blockchain live and token 2049. So we were thinking about announcing it then, but we have started, and I tweeted out also a couple of days ago. So we are launching on base chain as well, and including a base chain on our link on our bridge, the love
Base
bridge.
chain. Didn't you hear Richard's tweet about base chain?
Yeah, I
Bad
did.
move, bro. Bad move.
Yeah, I know, but it's a little different because we have our peg, so that means that we are just like connecting the ecosystem, and so we are seeing it just tapping in and bridging with economic energy between and infrastructure. So that means that basically, since we have the love bridge, which is one-to-one peg, with love on pulsechain, love on BNB chain, and also on Ethereum, that means that this becomes a bridge with economic energy, plus that we gain the infrastructure on base chain with Coinbase 110 wallets, on and off ramps, and so on. So we see it as just like tapping into economic energy, bridging it, and then of course that will gain Pulse Chain too, because now when we everything have calmed down and the fundamentals, as I see it in the Pulse Chain, is extremely good, even if we have all these like FUD and sell pressure in the
Anders,
market.
Anders, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is knowing that the OA has 600 million in SAC funds, is that a pumpamental?
All right, Brisology, you're not addressing what the actual topic. I have a question that's related to what Anders is talking about instead of jumping back to like a super old topic.
No, he was just talking about the
I will
pumpamental
answer that too.
chain.
I love to answer that too.
Yeah.
So
So this
sorry.
is. I'm hearing this for the first time, and my question is not going to be, "Will Sack Daddy come and save us?" My question is.
He was talking about pumpamentals. He was talking about pumpamentals.
All right. Well, listen.
I just want to know if he thought that was a pumpamental or not.
Base chain takes 7 days to get off of it.
Maddie,
it sucks.
I will sit here like a good little boy and I'll be quiet.
There are. Well, all I'm asking is that we ask questions that are related to what people are talking about at the time.
Yeah.
And so my question is, if it takes me 7 days to get off base chain because they literally only have one validator and they suck, but there are tons of people using base chain, is it possible, Anders, for people to bridge off of base chain with love to pulse chain or to Ethereum and then to cash out much quicker than 7 days? That's a big deal. That's a really big deal.
I think the love bridge, as we have it now, it's like it takes less than 10 minutes, to bridge between, So that means that will go extremely quick with the love bridge to cash out and so on. So it is. We are using blockchain technology and protocol in its fullest, because that means that since base is an EVM chain, we have, of course, a lot of dev resources, and we have to do a lot of work that they are working with now to do the integrations in our bridge and so on, and also in we're deploying the same contract. So we have the same contract on Pulsechain, ETH, on all the chains, and also on the base chain. So it will be like love on base, 10 minutes. You have the love on Pulse chain. the same, and the same you can use, like Ethereum have probably the fastest off ramps. So then you can just bridge it over to ETH, and then you have your money in your bank account.
That's incredible. I hate waiting a week on base chain, and I bet a lot of other people do too.
Yeah,
and so if people buying love and on base chain and then bridging to Ethereum or pulse chain to bridge out, it seems like that helps pulse chain because you guys have this giant amount of liquidity with PulseX on the pulse chain. So kudos to you. That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's also work the other way, because whatever that they take long time and so on, but at the same time they are putting in enormous resources in doing one smart wallet as well that will be connected directly to Coinbase, and we are thinking of using that in our infrastructure as well. And since we are building this big marketplace, which will be a lot US focused, because most of our famous drop shippers of these famous brands, they are based in US. So one of the biggest have 5 fulfillment centers in the US. So that means that everyone that buys on the Lovify marketplace and can earn crypto cash back, that is incredible for us to be connected to like Coinbase and 110 million wallets and so on. So we are looking at everything we do is like tapping into monetary energy, and then with the blockchain technology, as we are doing here now, with that it's an EVM chain base or layer 2, but it's still very much easier for us to do the integrations. So that means that we are tapping into all of these ecosystems. And then I can add on to that question Briss had with like if it's good with 600 million in the SAC wallet, and this is I
just wanted to know if you thought it was a pumpamental. That's all I want to know.
It's a huge pumpamental. And everyone knows this, that what we have now is such strong fundamentals and fundamentals in pulsechain, in this ecosystem, because it's a very high transaction rate that will of course increase even further. We have like I see the SAC wallet, I see that as a huge whale that we have, that loves pulsechain and wants it to be successful. Think about having you are creating a new blockchain with like very good technology. That means that you have the best security, you have the fastest and the cheapest transactions of any. No one can say that anything is better in this and pulsechain. You name one blockchain that is better than pulsechain. Just like honestly, being a pro pulsechain or not pro pulsechain, like people can talk whatever they want to, but you cannot compare like Solana or even Base, which is a layer 2, or Ethereum or BNB chain. When it comes to pure technology, no one can compare to it because it's like a genius idea to do what Richard did with pulsechain. And then
Absolutely.
we're taking the other fundamentals that we have, and that is that we have probably crypto's most engaged and strongest community, because this is also like, even if this also works in our unfavor sometimes, with a lot of emotional attacks, and people are like leaving and launching on other chains, and lot of hate, and so on. But still, I prefer that instead of having a ghost chain where it's no people and no emotion or no activity. Like here we
That's a
still
great point.
have we still have like a lot of like activity and so on, and this and everything. This is of course. Why these things happens is because we have had red candles and people get frustrated. They had dreams, like, and some people, of course, was talking up even more that we would do like 10,000x within a year, and so on, which would be, of course, very hard. But then people are setting up dreams, what they were supposed to do with their sack money that they did, and then that doesn't happen, and so on, and then it becomes a lot of bad energy coming out. But back to the fundamentals we have here, and then with all these discussions and criticism to Richard, and so on, I would just like think if you would be in Richard or Richard's team that is probably discussing this and probably have a whiteboard where they discussing like everything every day, what is happening in our ecosystem, who is the weak whales that maybe needs to sell out, and so on. What should we do with them? Should we start to allocate and do a faster rate now to buy in? Why are we paying out that whale? Should we pay out? Because they are sitting with all these funds now, and in their big interest is how can we, with these resources that we are basically the biggest whale in this ecosystem that can really pump this ecosystem to the maximum. Where do we spend these funds best?
It really
And
needs to be
also,
managed.
yeah, how do we manage? And I'm sure that they are sitting in a war room with a big whiteboard and having all the players in line, who is sitting with what, and what is steering system and how quick must they, because they also have made promises to their investors when they created pools, like this is like we have fast. This will be fast money. We will go up so quickly, and they want to pay back to their investors that maybe invested, and they had to sell in the pulsechain ecosystem, and then they have not. It's under the sack rate that.
What are you talking about? There were no investors for pulsechain. I'm lost.
No. Yeah, but what I'm like, what did you ask me? What I'm saying is like the weak whales that wanted to get out, and wanted.
Oh
to get
yeah,
out.
just reading the market conditions. That's different than
Yeah.
like people.
Yeah. So,
Nobody invested in pulsechain.
no, sacrificed, if you say like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but it is. I think that is where we are now. That it is a chess game between the OA wallet and the SAC wallet and these different weak whales. I would say we have a few that is very stable and see it in the long term as we should do, but then of course there is some that is putting out pressure and so on, and then it's a chess game. Because why should the 600 million? Why should we pay out these hands that just want to be paid out? So
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I dig it. Yeah. It's a deep strategy that requires faith.
Yeah. So, but in the long term, it's like if it's like a poker game. If you are a poker player and you are going to sit a long time at the table, then you maybe need to lose a few hands in the beginning, but it's in the end game. That is when you're leaving the table. That is when the winner is set. So and I see it a lot like this, and then we also see the different cycles, and that the SAC funds have moved to Ethereum temporarily. That is also a very good strategic move, because we always see Bitcoin move first, and then it will. Plus that I can't see that then Ethereum ETF will not be approved. It's just a matter of time, because that's also a lot of like this TradFi money with BlackRock and so on behind it, and they all of their interest is to have a approved Ethereum ETF as well, and so we. And
Yeah,
in
great
four
points.
cycles, we always have had Bitcoin moving first, and Bitcoin is moving first now, and now Bitcoin is taking a little 3 step forward, 1.5, 2 steps back, and that is like the whole time. And now we are back a bit, and then of course we they are not. We are not. We are following back as well, but otherwise, I am
Well,
very
yeah,
positive.
I'm really glad to hear these positive updates, and I think we're gonna wrap up the show here. But I can't speak highly enough of what you're doing, Anders. I think not everybody gets it, how important the work that you're doing is when it comes to bridging together these chains. Whereas other people who are building in the pulse chain space, they are leading followers to other chains. You seem to be leading people to pulse chain through your marketplace, through launching on having a bridge between BNB and pulse chain, between now Base and pulse chain and Ethereum. So hats off to you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, and also if anyone listening and will be in Dubai next week, starting on the 15th of April, we will be at Blockchain Live. We have a big booth there, and we'll talk a lot about, of course, Love.io, but also Pulsechain and everything. And so if
Is
everyone,
that one of the biggest crypto conferences in the world?
yeah, so the whole week there. So we have the Blockchain Live is first. So we are one of the main sponsors there. So we will be there, and a few of our devs as well. And then we have Token 2049 coming up just the day the 16th to 17th, and that is also one of the biggest. The whole week is like the biggest in the world. It's like thousands of different projects that are there, and who is who in crypto and blockchain will be there,
Very
and
cool.
then we have we will be the main featured project at the coin store exchange with love.io be. So that is huge as well, because coin store is one of the biggest exchanges in Asia, and
Wow, that's
we,
awesome.
yeah, so we will talk a lot there as well in that exchange, and then we have after that there is another event. It's the World Blockchain Summit, which I heard. I saw a tweet, but I have not been contacted or anything. But it apparently is. It is an energy drink that is launching, that is using Pulsechain somehow, and we'll do a presentation of Pulsechain, but I have not heard anything. But we will be there as well.
Interesting.
if they are listening and they want to have some help talking about pulsechain, I'm all available and can do something there if they are interested.
Very cool. Well, let's go around the room and everybody say where people can find you.
Yeah, so people can find me. My Twitter is love pulsechain, and my Telegram is Anders Johnson, and it's Johnson with the Swedish spelling with 2 S's. And what else? LinkedIn is a quite good forum as well. So that's Anders Johnson. We'll connect on LinkedIn as well. Yeah, that's probably those where it's easiest to contact.
Awesome. Very good.
I'm Briz. You can find me Brisology on Twitter. Watch out for that blood moon. Watch out for that lunar moon. Watch out for the freaking moon. I don't think it's even real. Just watch out for it. It's coming for your bags. All right.
Sweet. Sweet. I like the biz with Briz, man.
Thank
Hi,
you.
Anders. I'm sorry I didn't say hello to you. I love you. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, you guys can find me at hexfire.io. The subscriptions there have been going pretty crazy. Got lots of people subscribed. Pretty cool. And for those who might be interested, come check it out. I got some good info out there, correlation data, all sorts of stuff. And by request, I added, this is a paid section, but I did add all of the AA data out there, the adoption amplifier data for Hex. So we got that up and running. If somebody needs access to that, let me know. Hexfire.io.
Awesome.
Baby.
All right. Well, hit the like and subscribe button. Until next time, stake wisely, my friends, and peace out.
Peace out.
Cheers. Bye.
Hot mic moment for Toby.
Oh, yes. Let's everybody remember Toby. Toby.